Hi, everyone. I wanted to just share a little bit of what I've been doing to flip some of my standard theory assignments into a digital format because with everything going on and even just on a regular ongoing basis, I find it is very time consuming to be printing out theory assignments, writing in the notes. If you make a mistake, you got to start again. It's just such a time consuming process that I thought I would try something a little different this year. Um, if you decide to go all digital the way that I have, it is a long process. So I just did a little bit at a time, an assignment or two at a time. So the first thing I wanted was to be able to print out assignments where the staff is there, the text is there, everything is there. And so what I did was I started to collect my own sort of little Google drawings that I created or I grabbed off the internet. And I would keep them so that I had them available to me at all times and I could insert them. So, for example, this here is one that I grabbed a bunch of these different, I have whole notes and I have all sorts of different kinds of notes here and rests and accidentals and things like that so that I can very easily pop them into another assignment. But back over here, if you look, this is an actual Google drawing. So when I'm designing it, I can go to insert and then image, and then I can look in the drive. And I have one there from Google Draw, or I can actually just go drawing new and then from drive. So this is kind of how I've set up my assignments, and this is what enabled me to just print them off real quick this semester or at my first semester. And so I really liked that, and I was starting to develop everything that way. But with flipping to online, I knew that I needed to go with a different sort of tactic because I want the kids to be able to hand things back into me. And I want to see that they actually understand the placement of the notes, for example, and not just be able to do a multiple choice. Yes, this is the note. That is doable. You can totally do little screenshots, snippets, and do Google Forms, and then have like A, B, C, D as your multiple choice, and then put, this is an A or this is a Q or whatever. I know there's no Q, but put those in, and then the kids can just click. But you're not really getting whether or not they know it because they could be guessing, and you're not getting the actual placement. So I wanted to take it kind of a step further. So I'm just going to close this out and go to just a new Google slide presentation. So in order to create your Google slide presentation, and I have this all set up for you in an actual Google slide presentation so you can go through step by step, you need to have a digital JPEG or PNG copy, a picture file of the assignment that you want to use. So you can use the school photocopiers. They're not great high quality images. You can use the Google Drive app on your device, like on your phone. If you have the Google Drive app, if you go on there and you click the add sign, one of your options is scan. And you can scan something right in and pick the different method. I know iPhones, the Note app allows you to scan. I know it goes to a PDF, so I'm not sure if you can change that or you just have to take a screenshot or a snip after that. Basically, you want a single JPEG or PNG, which will fit entirely onto a Google slide. So sometimes this is going to mean you are going to have to split your assignment into multiple slides, where normally they would just be on one page. But that's not a bad thing. So each individual section will go onto a slide, maybe. For some assignments, maybe only one question is going to be on a slide. So normally, if there are 6 questions, then maybe I'm going to have 6 slides down here. It's just personal preference. It's however you decide to do it. So I've already opened up a new slideshow. Any theme will work, but you don't want something with a very busy background because you're going to be using the background. So you need it to be pretty clear. So on your first slide, you're going to give the students directions. So whatever the task is going to be. And then on the second slide, so here maybe I'm just going to do note naming. And then I've got my second slide, and I'm going to click the drop down beside this. I'm not going to click on the plus sign, and I'm just going to go choose blank because we really do want just a blank slate to start with. Next, we're going to insert a picture of whatever your assignment is. So I'm going to pause this and grab one and show you how I add it. Okay, so there are 2 different ways that you can do this. If you have a slide or, sorry, a picture all ready to go, you can add it right to your page. I just grabbed a random picture and you can turn this into your background. And this is the main thing that allows you to lock your assignment so the students can actually work around it, move things around, and not impact the back of it. So you are going to want to change the size of this to make it look more like a page. So you're going to come down to page setup and you're going to go to custom and you're going to go to 8.5 by 11. I think this is the right way, but if not, I'll know in a second. Yep. Okay, so there's my 8.5 by 11 page. So I can, if I want, make this relatively full page. You can play around with that. You're going to adjust the side, but then you need to lock your background. I am going to show you how to do this with a staff as well, but what you're going to do is right click on the slide and you're going to go to add to theme and choose blank. Now I can't move it. It's now locked there. And if I add another slide, now I have that same blank background. You can do this with multiple different slides, multiple backgrounds. Sometimes just to kind of keep myself straight, I will have a couple different slideshows open and I'll make a background that I like. And if I have a background that needs to change a lot within an assignment, I do it somewhere else and then drag the slide in and or just duplicate, copy that one slide. So I'm going to undo this so I can show you how I actually do the note naming. Okay, and I'm going to keep it set up like this for now. So we'll take this out. So another way that you can actually get your images is you can go here and search the web. So insert image, search the web. So I'm going to go staff, transparent. Try that. Okay, so you see you've got a lot of different options here. I'm going to grab this one because it looks like it will work. And then I'm going to go to insert. And I'm going to pull this out. Now, this is not ideal for anything that I want to do right now, but it gives you an idea of what it will look like. You can, like I said, resize the page so it's an 8.5 by 11. If you like a landscape look better for what your purposes are, that works too. So I'm going to right click, or if you're on a Mac, control, and then you're pressing your mouse pad button, add to theme and blank. So now I have a whole bunch of the backgrounds here. I can still add text. I can do everything I could do before when I was creating a slide. So name the following notes or whatever it is you want to do. So that's the first sort of step. Once you have your background set, now it's just whatever you want to do with it. So your background is locked. In this case, if I wanted students to name some notes, so let's say on here, I'm going to add a slide or add some text and I want them to name some notes. And I'm just going to do this real quick. Okay, space them out a little bit more. And obviously this is all personal preference, whatever it is you want to do. So what I've done is I've got my notes ready to be placed onto the staff, or I've got what I want them to do, but I need some actual notes. So I'm just going to work in whole notes because it's easy. I'm going to go image, search the web, and I'm going to do whole note, transparent. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of them here. I'm just going to click on the first one and see what this looks like. All right, so you can see it's got a transparent background, which means when I put it on the staff, it looks the way that it should look. I'm going to resize it so that it's a good size for me. So if I put it on a line or a space, it looks right. So, okay, it's a little big for the spaces. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and go up and see. Yeah, it's okay. It's not perfect. If this was going to a class, I would probably play with it a little bit more than I am. Also, if you're finding the mouse too finicky, if you press up and down with your arrow keys, you can move it. And to fine tune it, you press shift and up and down with your arrow keys, and then you can move it. So this one works pretty well, although you can see I'm getting really close to the treble clef. So what I would probably do is take this and move it over a little bit and move this over to where I like it. So that's what I would do. But if you were giving this to a student, they are not going to take the time to make the notes the right size. They're not going to know how to do all this. So what I've come up with instead, and it seems to work pretty well, I find the note that I want, I size it correctly, and then I plop it somewhere else on the page. You could have an example one that you have at the beginning. It doesn't really matter where you put it. But then really all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to paste as many as I need. And then basically all I'm going to do is stack them. So I'm stacking them really messy, but if you stack them properly, you'll see that it looks like one note still. Then when you send it to the student, they know, because you can make a lovely little Screencastify video to show them, that all they have to do is grab the note and drag it. So if they get this, like, see, this looks really messy right here, but I would clean it up. They can grab it and put it wherever they want. Okay. Once they're done, I would have a name, a title here I would include, and then I would just have them put their name there maybe, but you're going to know who it is anyway that's submitting it to you. And then you have a couple options. You can have them share it with you. I refuse to have students share stuff with me during this last few months because my shared drive just got a little crazy. So I just said, no, you have to submit it either through Google Classroom or D2L, whatever platform you were working. And then I would just make an assignment hand-in folder on D2L, and they knew that that's where they could hand it in. So I've done one here that's a bit of a test, and you can see I have a whole 8.5 by 11. So they do have to scroll, but that's not a huge thing. And they can name the following notes, and they can put the whole notes on the stack. So you can see I've got my stack here all ready to go. You could put a little, I would probably put a border around them just so that, like if I do this, just to make it very apparent that this is where they're going to get this. Now, if you forget your little shape filled in, just go transparent and now you can see it. But I would maybe do this, make this a little bit thicker, and I'd probably change the color just so they would see that, hey, anything in a purple, that's where I'm going to drag my notes from. For the actual naming of the notes, you've got a few choices. So one of the things that I would do is you can either do a whole text bar and they can just type stuff in, or I would do, let's say, okay, I'm going to do this. I am just sort of a perfectionist, so I would spend a stupid amount of time probably adjusting this and making it look pretty, making it look the way that I wanted to. And then I would make sure that it had a border. Oh, where's my border? Border. Okay, so I'm going to go to like 2, let's say. Perfect. So now I have a whole bunch of these. Oh, I gave myself a border over here too. Let's get rid of that. So I would just take the whole thing and I would copy, paste, paste, and I would just pull them to wherever they needed to be. Now, if you have something like this that's got 2 different items in it, you can see if you start to move it, as long as the whole thing is highlighted, it all goes with you. And you can plop it wherever you need. And maybe instead of having a letter, you're going to put question mark, and the students know that they go in and they change their question mark. And then they come down here and they drag and drop. Oh, that's not locked. So that's something you want to look at. You want to make sure that this little guy is locked. So you may want to build that into your background. So already you can learn from my mistakes. So I'm going to take out that, and now I can grab my whole note and I can put him wherever I want. So it doesn't work as well with PDFs. I can't figure out how to put them in as a background, but it doesn't take much to flip a PDF into a picture so that you can do this. So this is a completed one. You can see the example right here, and you can just show kids how to view it, right? They can do 100%, they can do 50%, they can fit it to the page, whatever's comfortable, and then you can resize it when you're looking at it as well. So I hope that that helps a little bit. Like I said, it's a time-consuming process in some ways, but it's not a lot of brain power. So I found once you do a couple, you can throw a movie on, throw a podcast or audiobook or whatever, or go sit outside and actually create your theory assignments. There are amazing theory software programs out there that I know you guys know about, but so many of them are expensive. And sometimes I find they just don't teach it the way that I want to teach it. So I found this a really great way to do it. You can also create a slideshow and then use Screencastify to share it with your students. So for example, this is the one I'm going to share with you. So if I was to present it in the Screencastify mode, you can go through and click, you can highlight things. There's a little pointer here somewhere that's really fun. You can do that with. But I will share this with you. And if you see any mistakes or anything, just let me know and I'll fix it up. But hopefully that can kind of help you a little bit in preparing your lessons for anything virtual. I think it will be handy down the road as I create more and I have a bank that I can just pull from. And I can share any of these with anybody if they think it would be helpful. But happy planning. If you have any questions, fire me an email. It's Jackie Robinson, jackie.robinson@dsbn.org.